wonderful introduction. I can see some familiar names, which means we have some participants that are returning to the session, to our masterclass sessions, and I can see a lot of new names as well. So just to get a feel of where you are joining us from, just type into the chat your location. Where are you joining us from? You're joining from Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja, UAE. Just type it into the Kenya, fantastic, Ethiopia. You're welcome. Welcome, everyone. Port Harcourt, Kigali, Rwanda, United Kingdom, Oladele, you're welcome to the session today. Benin, Enugu, Nigeria, UK, Jos. Brilliant. So we have a diverse set of, I would say, participants on the call today. We'll be talking HR analytics, okay? That's what our conversation would center around. Now, I would have a practical session, very brief practical session. I want today's session to have very good conversations, okay? I want a two-way street. You'd ask questions and then I would respond to your questions because I know you have burning questions that you'd like to ask on how to transition into tech. And just like Priscilla mentioned at the beginning, our focus, our goal and our vision is to help as many Africans and people of the Black community to transition into the tech ecosystem. Over the last 3 years, we've been able to help about 1,000 Africans to make that switch from the classroom to getting their first jobs in tech. And I'll be sharing some, insights into the reason why you should be a HR analyst and some of the reasons why you should also transition into HR analytics. In addition to that, a lot of people get confused about how to start. That's usually the challenge. Where do I start? What do I learn? So within the next 2 hours, I'll walk you through the beginning, the nitty-gritty of every single thing you need to know as a HR analyst to get into HR analytics. And our session is broken into 4 phases. I'll go ahead and share my slide, and then we'll dive into the main meat of what we have for today. Once again, you are all welcome to the session. So just give me 1 second, I'll share my screen, and then we'll get started with what we have. All right. So just a brief introduction about myself one more time. Just confirm you can all see my screen. Just give me 1 second. Confirm you can see my PowerPoint slide. Can you see my PowerPoint? I'm not sure it's...
No, Adesa, I can't see your PowerPoint slide yet. Okay, it's
Can
up
you see
now.
it now?
Yes.
All right, brilliant. Brilliant. Okay. All right, so that's Priscilla. You can see Priscilla's picture. She just introduced Tenalytics. That's one of our amazing data associates here at Tenalytics. And like she rightly mentioned, one of the things we pride ourselves on is on the quality of the resource persons, the facilitators, the subject matter experts we bring to bear. We bring the best across different industries that have worked within the space to help you make that transition into the tech ecosystem as a HR analyst, because HR analytics is our focus for today. Even though we offer so many other programs across the data ecosystem, from data analytics to business analysis, data engineering, and so many more, right? And just to give a brief introduction about myself, my name is Adesa Suleiman, the founder of Tenalytics. I'm a data analytics expert with close to a decade years of experience across different organizations with a combined valuation of over $5 billion. I've worked across 5 different sectors, from energy to educational technology to sports to financial services and automobile. I moved into the automobile industry when I came to the UK. Worked with one of the largest automobile servicing companies here in the UK. And personally, I've been able to train over 8,500 people across my own personal career as well. I also work as a data science consultant in the UK and also in the US, and for some other companies across sub-Saharan Africa. So that's just a brief introduction about me. My goal and my drive is to move into any company and see people that look like me. Somebody from Africa, a Black, somebody from Africa, somebody from the Black community working in one of the tech-related roles in that organization. That's what we aim to achieve, and that's why we do what we do at Tenalytics, all right? And this is how our session today would go. First of all, would analyze an employee HR data, and I want our analysis to be collaborative, okay? Before today's session, I was thinking of what to do. I was thinking of what to show you guys, but I just decided, look, would keep it interactive, would come up with the questions we want to answer. And we've been having series of AI-related solutions for the month of September, using ChatGPT, using Bard by Google, also leveraging different other AI embedded applications across different tools. So today we'll be using a particular tool that exists in Excel to help us answer some of the questions that we have. Now, once we are done with that, in the next 30 minutes to 45 minutes, I'll then show you what it takes to become a HR analytics professional and how to secure a job anywhere across the globe, either remotely or if you are in that particular country. So how do you start? What do you need to learn first? What do you need to learn last? And so on and so forth. And then I'll introduce you to the upcoming program we have on the 7th of October. That's next week, Saturday. And then I'll share some success stories with you. All right. So if you give me the next 2 hours, we would achieve amazing stuff together. Okay, so let's get started. Now, the very first part of what we want to do is to work on a real life case study. I'll show you what the data looks like. We'll look at the data together, the different columns and features in that particular data set, and we'll try to answer some questions. I would want you to also, come up with questions that you'd like to get answers to, and we'll see how we can address those questions. The aim of today's session is to make it easy and seamless, all right? A lot of people always have this presumption that data analytics, HR analytics is difficult, and I don't think I can learn anything. I can't get into tech. I don't have a computer-related degree, and so on and so forth. So I'll be helping you surmount all those different myths. We're going to bust them today during this session. All right. So we'll keep it simple and straight to the point. Now, I've kept the link to the data set on my slide. Okay. So once you receive the slides, you'd have access to the data itself. All you have to do is click on this particular link to download the data. And I'll show you how to download the data. All right. So let's move. So all you need to do is click on this link. Once you click on the link, it opens up into an Excel online file, something that looks like this. All right. So once you click on the link, it opens up into something that looks like this. Now, once you have it here, all you have to do is click on File and click on Download. It's a pretty straightforward process. Now, you don't have to bother yourself trying to work with me, but if you want to work with me as well, that's also fine. I think I can send the link to you. Just give me 1 second and I'll share the link with you. I'll drop it in the chat for those who would like to follow what I'm doing. All right. So I have the link to the data sets. Let me see. Yes, I have the link to the data set in the drive, in the chat. So if you want to download the data and work with me, it's fine. But what I'll recommend is watch what I'm doing, ask your questions, follow me step by step. And then at the end of the session, when you get the recording, you also get the slides, you download the data, you can practice all the things I'll be showing you today, so you don't miss out on anything when you try to catch up and so on. Now, what you have to do now, once you click on the link on the slide, is to go to File, all right? Once you get to File, you click on File, you'd see Save As. Save As. You click on File, you click on Save As. Once you click on Save As, you'd see the option to download a copy. You click on that, download a copy, it downloads the data for you in your downloads. So when you get to your downloads, you'd see the data. It says HR dashboard data. It's an Excel file, all right? So again, one more time, click on the link on the slide. I've also sent the link to the chat for those who would want to follow what I'm doing. Click on that link, it takes you here, all right? Click on File, Save As, and then download a copy. That's all you need to do, all right? And you get, once you click on download a copy, it downloads the data into your downloads. So now I can see the data here. All I'll do is launch the data set. So you can go to your downloads folder, double click on the HR dashboard data, and it brings up the data for you. But I'll just click it from here, and this opens up the HR data for me. I want us to look at the data together, and I want you to tell me the type of questions you'd like to get out of these data sets. Okay, so let me maximize it a bit so you can see it clearly. All right, so I'll just maximize a bit so you can see my screen clearly. So these are the headers, the features of our data sets. So I just boldened it so you can see it clearly. We have name, which contains the names of all the employees in this organization. You have the age of all the employees, the gender, the projects completed. Okay, so you have projects completed by employees. This employee completed Douglas Lindsay, for example, 25-year-old male, completed 11 projects. Productivity in percent is 57. Satisfaction rates, which means the satisfaction of that particular employee in terms of the projects they've completed, he scored 25%. Now the feedback score, feedback is 4.7, all right? 4.7 is the feedback score. And then the employee is in the marketing department, position is analyst. The employee joined January 2020, and then the salary is 63,596. So you have records for each employee across this organization. So these are all the columns that we have in the data set, or all the features in the data set. You have the name, the age, the gender, the projects completed, the productivity of that employee in percentage. You have the satisfaction rates, the satisfaction in percentage as well, depending on the quality of the project that employee completed. You have a feedback score, and then you have the department, the position, the dates that employee joined the organization, and then the salary of that employee. Now, looking at the data the way it is, you really cannot make any sense of what the data is all about, all right? It makes no sense. You'd want to ask questions, but remember that I said we're not going to do anything complex. And one of the reasons why we won't try anything complex is because you have new trends. You have new trends. You have new tools that are available to make work easy for you, all right? You have a tool, a particular tool we're going to use in Excel today to make our work easy. I have some questions we're going to try to answer, and then I'll pick some questions that you've also sent into the chat, and then we'll try to answer those questions, all right? So now, let's see what you have in the chat. Somebody's saying, how many female and male do we have in the company? That's pretty straightforward. How many employees are in each department? That's also pretty straightforward. If satisfaction rate is 20%, how many fell below the satisfaction rate? Also straightforward. Are more productive employees paid more than less productive employees? I love that question. That's a fantastic question. I'm going to take it down from Pauline. I'll take that question down so I don't forget. All right. Are more productive employees are more productive employees paid more than less productive? So pretty much what we want to do is compare or find the relationship between productivity and salary. All right. For example, if productivity increases, does salary increase with productivity? If productivity reduces, does salary also reduce with productivity? Very good question. Okay. All right. Fantastic. Now, when you look at this, you start to ask yourself questions around the HR value chain itself. And how is this even useful? Imagine yourself in a position whereby you're trying to predict the factors, or you're trying to look for reasons or factors to motivate employees to become more productive. Or you're looking for factors that could determine the income of employees or the salary. What is that factor that is very important that can determine the salary of an employee within the organization? Or how do we encourage employees to take on more projects, and so on and so forth? So these are the type of questions we can start to come up with. And also, even if we don't have those questions, the company wants to solve problems. They want to get the best, the maximum out of employees, given the resources available to those employees. So how do we help that company achieve its objectives? How do we advise? One of the ways, or the only way you can advise a company, two ways. First of all, your experience, and secondly, the data. And data also supersedes experience, because whatever the data says, with the experience, you can then start to give recommendations. Okay, if this is what the data says, then this is what I think we should do based on the experience I have working in this company or working within a particular space. So data does everything for you. Data drives your strategy. And this is one of the major reasons why HR professionals need to move away from the conventional HR related activities that you do today to a more strategic role. All right. Organizations would look at HR professionals or the HR department itself as a cost center. So how do you show that organization that you can do a lot more than just being a cost center? You can add to the strategic drive, the strategic initiatives that a company has to offer, all right, or the company wants to achieve. Now, I'm going to minimize this a bit. We have a couple of questions that you've come up with. I took one from Pauline, and I've also seen the other questions that some of you have asked as well. Which department completed the highest projects? What's the percentage of the department? What percentage of that department are male and female? Very fantastic questions. Now, all these questions can be answered easily using a tool in Excel called the pivot table. All right, using a tool called the pivot table. The pivot table is a very simple to use tool. However, we're not diving into the pivot table itself. We are diving into another tool that exists in Excel called Analyze Data. Analyze Data is AI driven, and it helps us answer questions straightforward. All you have to do is type in the question. All right, all you have to do is ask Analyze Data, and then it provides or it recommends the solutions based on what you have imputed into Analyze Data. All right, so let's try one of the questions and see if we can get something out of it. How do we even find Analyze Data? Where does it exist? Where do you find Analyze Data? Very straightforward. Once you launch your Excel, okay, once you launch Excel, from your home tab, you'd see the Analyze Data feature, all right, towards the top right corner of your Excel. Once you click on the home tab, on your Excel ribbon, you'd see the analyze data. You'd see the analyze data. All right. So if you have Excel, launch your Excel, check if you have the analyze data. If you don't, there is a way you can also bring up analyze data to your computer. So check if you have analyzed data or not. If you don't, I can show you how to get analyzed data into your Excel, right? So if you don't have analyzed data, one of the things you want to do, if you don't find it from your home tab or on the home tab, you go to File at the top left corner, all right? You go to File, and then you look for Options. So once you click on File, you look for what? Options. Depending on the version of your Excel, yours could be placed, differently from mine, all right? So once you click on File, on your Excel, from the Excel ribbon, you'd see File, Home, Insert. You click on File, and then you go to Options, all right? You click on Options. From Options, you look for the Add-ins category. Add-ins. You look for the add-ins, and if you look at mine, you'd see it right at the bottom, okay? Add-ins. You click on add-ins. All right. Now, once you click on add-ins, where you have manage, you want to select Excel add-ins. By default, you should have Excel add-ins. But if it's not on Excel add-ins, you click on the drop-down and select Excel add-ins. Okay. So once more, you click on File, you click on Options, you click on add-ins, and then you want to ensure that you have Excel add-ins inside this box. Once you have Excel add-ins, just click on Go. All right. And from Go, you'd see the Analysis Toolpack, VBA, Euro currency, solver add-in. You'd see so many add-ins. The add-in you want to select is the Analysis Toolpack. And this is if you don't have the analyzed data. So you've checked your home tab and you cannot find analyze data. So you have to add the Analysis Toolpack. All right. So you select the Analysis Toolpack and then you click on OK. And once you do that, you go back to your home tab, you'd find the analyzed data in there. I don't have to put it in there because I already have mine. So I'm just going to cancel. All right. So from the home tab, ensure that you look for analyzed data. So I'm going to click anywhere within my data set. All right. Because what I want to analyze is the data set. That's what I want to analyze, nothing else. So ensure you are clicked somewhere within the data set. You don't have to select everything. Excel will do it for you. Or rather, analyze data will do it for you. Okay. So all you want to do is click anywhere within the data. Just make sure you are clicked within the range where you have your data, anywhere around your data, not outside. So once you click within the data itself, go back to Analyze Data and click on Analyze Data. Click on Analyze Data. And the moment you do that, Analyze Data, like I mentioned, is driven by AI. And there's so many AI tools available today in Excel. You have the Copilot. Copilot is still on the beta phase. It's still being tested across different Microsoft applications. You can use ChatGPT in Excel. If you look to the top right of my Excel, you'd see ChatGPT for Excel right beside my Analyze Data. So that's another add-in that you can bring into Excel. You can use ChatGPT outside Excel. You can also use it inside Excel. So there are so many tools today to make Excel seamless and to make Excel, to make Excel easy to use. Please, if you have your video on, turn it off, put it off so that we don't distract other people that would love to concentrate. The version of Excel I'm using is Office 365. Office 365. But I think analyzed data exists right from Excel 2016, if I'm correct. Either 2016 or 2019, I can't remember exactly. But if you have Excel 2019, you should have analyze data. So the moment you click on analyze data, guess what? You have so many insights. All right. At the right-hand side, you'd see this pane that opens up that says analyze data. And you see the box that says ask a question about your data. Ask me any question, and I'll provide you with the insights. Ask a question, ask away. All right. And the very first question we are going to ask is, which gender earns a higher salary? I think somebody asked that question in the chat. We want to know the gender that earns a higher average salary. Okay, so we want to look at the average salary of the male and the female and see who earns more, the male or the female. So that's the question we want to answer. Average salary by what? Gender. So we want to see the average salary by gender. Remember, our data set has gender, male, female, and so on. And then we also have salary, a salary column. But I don't want to stress myself to do any hard work. I don't want to stress myself to, start creating a pivot table or start writing any functions or start doing any calculations to get the answers that I want. I want to leverage tools that can do this for me without any hassle. So I want to use the analyze data. Once I've clicked on it, I have so many options. I can scroll down all the way, and you can see the very first one is showing us is just a table showing us the gender for the different positions within the organization, projects completed by position, age by position, and gender. I'm not really interested in this. I want to control what analyzed data would give to me. All right. So I want to ask a question. My very first question is what? Which gender earns the higher average salary? So I'm more concerned with what the average salary by gender. Average salary by gender. So tell me the average salary by gender. So I'm just going to type that in there. Average salary, all right, by gender. That's all I'm going to type. Average salary by gender. You can click to select the option when you see the drop down. Okay, so average salary by gender. That's all I've typed into my analyzed data. And I'll hit enter. So it generates what it thinks should be the average salary by gender. So I hit enter. And then it gives me a bar chart. All right. And it titles that bar chart salary by gender. You have a subtitle that says average of salary in thousands. And then you have the female, you have the male. Now let's assume I don't want this chart as a bar chart. I want it as a column chart. I want it as a column chart. So I'm just going to go back to my analyzed data and I'll say average salary by gender. I'll put a space and I'll type column chart. All right, average salary by gender, column chart, and then I'll hit enter. And then you see it changes the chart for me. All right, it changes the chart for me. And it is a pivot chart. So what this has done, what analyzed data has done for me is create a pivot chart from the data that I have. It has taken the gender, taken the average salary, and created a chart for me to see what the average salary for each gender would look like in its thousands. Or okay, it looks good, looks like something that I want. I'll click on what? Insert pivot chart. So I click on that. So it gives me my very first pivot chart up here. You can see the pivot table right at the side, and then you can see the pivot chart right beside it. So what I'll do is I'll expand this a bit because you guys will tell me what you think about what you can see. The bars are very close, or the columns are very close to each other in terms of the average salary, but I want to see the absolute value. So show me the label at the top, the data label. How much on the average does a female make in this company? And what's the average salary of the male in this same company? So I right click on any of the bars, or any of the columns rather. I right click on any, and then I click on what? Add data label. Add data label. So I have something at the top. You can't see it very clearly. I'm just going to click on one of it, and then let's increase the font size. The font size is 9. I would come here and I would increase it to 16, just so you can see what I'm showing you. All right, so I'll increase it to 16, so it's more legible for you to see what I have. Now you have decimal points. 5 decimal places makes no sense. I want to reduce the decimal places so that my labels are neater and easier to read. Now, all the labels, the numbers, the average salary is coming from this table at the left-hand side. What Analyze Data did for me is to create a pivot chart, create a pivot table, and then provided a pivot chart from that pivot table. So I'll select the average salary from the pivot table. Okay, I'll select from female to male, and then the grand total. I'll just select everything. Sorry, please don't put on your video so that you don't distract. Thank you, Olufemi. So I'll just select the average salary, and then I'll go to where I have increase decimal. If you look at my mouse, when my mouse is hovering, you'd see increase decimal and decrease decimal. So I'll decrease the decimal to take out the decimal places. So I have either 1 decimal place or no decimal place at all. Okay, so I'll click on decrease decimal. You see that I have just 1 decimal place. I'll click on it again, and it takes out the second decimal. Now remember that what we have created in here is in its thousands, the salary. If you look closely at the chart that I have here, let me maximize this a bit. You'd see that it says salary in what? Thousands. So when you see 77, it means 77,000. When you see 76, it means 76,000. So what can you tell? What can you tell about the salary that in this organization with regards to the gender, the male and the female? Does anybody want to speak? If you want to say something, just raise your hand. I'll ask you to unmute yourself, and let's get to hear from you. What does this chart tell you about the average salary in this company? What does it tell you? Okay, so let's hear from Moyo. Moyo, I've asked you to unmute yourself. What do you think, Moyo? Hi, Moyo, go ahead, please. All right, I'm not sure I can hear Moyo.
It means the female workers earn more in this organization.
Okay, the female workers earn more. But remember, this is the average salary, right? Average. So you have 76,000 for the male, you have 77,000 for the female. So yes, on the average, they earn more. But does it tell you anything else in this organization? Anything else at all? Okay, let's hear from Kinyua. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Kinyua, please go ahead.
Yes, you have pronounced it correctly. So from that data, I can say the salaries are the same, but I would need more information on the number of workers so that I can see the distribution. You see, you can say the females are earning higher, but maybe the senior officers are female, so they'll skew the average towards the higher level.
Fantastic, brilliant job, Kinyua. Right. So on the face of it, looking at what we've done on the face of it, it looks as if the difference, the female and the male gender are earning almost about the same average salary. But then again, we need to look at how many male and female, what's the distribution? All right. Do we have more female in senior positions as managers, or do we have, you want to do a little bit, more analysis to give you more insights into what is actually going on in this organization. All right. So this is one simple analysis we can do. And once you have your pivot table, you can then slice and dice. You can slice and dice. One thing I can do easily is to break this table down using the departments. Okay, now remember where we started, using analyzed data. And we just simply asked, give me the average salary by gender. Okay, average salary by what? Gender. And it gave us this. And we've seen that, wow, female 77,000, male 76,000. All right. What if we break it down into departments? Or what if we break it down into positions? All right. And how do I do that? All I need to do is click anywhere on that small table that has male and female. And at the right-hand side over here, you'd see the department, you see the position. I can take any of this, drag it, and drop it under colons. All right. So if I take department, for example, let's take position. I drag position, drop it under where? Colons. What happens? I have a different chart entirely. Not a very good one, actually, because it's confusing. But again, you can see now that you have the gender broken down into different positions: analyst, intern, junior developer, manager, senior developer, team lead. So you can start to play around to see the different, slices and dices of that table that you've created. Okay, so you start from one single question and it gives you a table where you can do a whole lot more analysis. Now we can convert this chart into something that will look like a stacked column chart, for example. Would have the male, would have the female, and the different positions in stacks. All right, like I said, I don't want to do anything too complex because I know there are a lot of beginners on the call. So I want us to take it one step at a time. Easy does it. One step, we move to the next step. And at the end of the day, we'll be able to achieve something remarkable. Okay, so again, you can play around with this table, add different things, remove different stuff, and play around with the table really. All right. All these colors that you see, they all represent a particular position. Okay, if I click on this plus sign over here, I click on the plus sign and then I select legend. Okay, I select legend. What happens? You can then see the different colors and what they represent. This is also not the appropriate chart to use because you have so many colors. You have male, you have female. It could get very confusing. Okay, it could get very confusing for you. So what we'll do here is I'll show you how to change the charts. If you've created a single chart, how do you change it? All right. We had a chart initially that had just male and female, but I added position to the columns and then it gave me this. So what I'll do is click on this chart. And at the top of my Excel, I go to pivot chart design. All right, pivot chart design, pivot chart design. And you see the option that says change chart type. I want to change the chart type. I don't want the same chart type. I'll click on that, change chart type, and then you'd see different charts you can change into. Now, to represent this properly, I would use a stacked column. Okay, I'll use a stacked column to represent that particular chart. So I'll click on a stacked column or a stacked bar. One of the two would do it. Let's use a stacked bar chart. All right, so I'll click on the bar, use a stacked bar, and then I'll click on OK. All right, so this gives me a different bar. This looks a bit, I would say, it looks more tidy. And you can see the blue color represents analyst. You have the light blue color, which represents manager. And you can see the manager earns more. 112 for the male, 109 for the female. The numbers are not very clear. I'm just going to bolden it a bit, make it bigger. Sorry, I'm just going to I'll just change the font size to 15. Okay, just to make it bolder for you guys to see. So here you can see for the male, what do you notice for the male? Now, based on what Kunya had told us earlier, initially we felt like, oh, the women were earning more on the average than the men, all right? But if you look at the high-level roles, after breaking it down into positions and changing the charts, now you can see the two high-level roles, the team lead and the manager. The team lead is a very light green, the lemon green color, and then the manager is the light blue color. Now, if you look at the manager, you'd see that the male earns 112,000 on the average, and the female earns 109,000 on the average. Now, if you look at the team lead, you'd also see that the male earns 103,000 on the average, and the female earns 98,000 on the average. So just doing that very first analysis would give us a sense of, okay, I think the salary parity seems good in this organization. However, when you start to break it down into the different roles, different positions, you'd see that it is skewed towards a particular gender, especially for the high-level roles, just like for the manager and the team lead. The male gender seems to earn a lot more compared to their female counterparts. So thank you, Kunya, for bringing that up. It's not something I intended to do, but when you brought it up, I think that was a very fantastic suggestion. Now let's go back to analyze data and ask another question, because today our session is on analyze data, leveraging tools to make our work easier. I don't want to do too much work. All I want to do is get things done very fast. So I come back to my analyzed data, okay? So I've gotten the very first one, which is average salary by gender. Average salary by what? Gender. Now, I want to also find out, is salary related to the projects completed? If I complete more projects, am I likely to get more salary? So is there any relationship between salary and project completed? All right, is there any, Thomas is saying a 3D pie chart. I really don't advise using 3D charts. 3D charts are not the best for you to communicate. It's not the best visualization to communicate. Okay, all right. So let's ask another question. And this time around, what do we want to find? We want to find out if there's any relationship between the projects completed and salary. So let's go and ask. Let's go and ask analyze data. So I'll go there and delete what I had initially. All right. And this time around, I want to ask, give me insights into the projects completed. You can see this column that says project completed. And then you have a column that says salary. I want to know if there's a relationship. Does more project lead to more salary? Or how exactly does it play? Now, I'll come here and I'll type projects completed. You can type it anyhow you want, actually, and it gives you, there are so many ways of entering your prompts. One of the ways you can enter the prompt is to simply type in project completed insights. If you type project completed insights, it will give you multiple insights with regards to project completed. But I want to streamline mine. I want to say salary by project completed. So I'm just going to type that in there. Salary by projects completed. You can just click when you have the drop down, you click on that. That makes it easy for you. So this is the question I want to ask now. Is there a relationship between projects completed and salary and projects completed. Hit enter and let's see what we have. So it gives us a scatter plot. All right. And you can see it says salary by projects completed. Salary is in thousands. Okay. Now I'm going to insert this chart, and it's a very interesting one. So I'm going to click on insert chart and let's look at it together. Now it has inserted the chart on my data. I don't want it, on the same sheet where I have my data. I want it on a clean sheet where we can look at it alone and play around with it. So I'll click on it and cut. I'll cut it out of this sheet, Control X to cut, or right click and then cut. So Control X, I'm going to cut it from there. I'll open a new sheet. All right. I'll open a new sheet and then I'll paste the charts in the new sheet. Now, this is what I have. And I want us to look at this very carefully. Let's look at it together. Okay, let's look at this together. Here on the y-axis, let me draw. I want to draw very quickly. Can I? Yes, I can draw here. Just give me 1 second. Let's draw a bit. So on the y-axis over here, what do I have? I have salary. You can see that, right? Salary. And on the x-axis over here, what do I have? I have projects completed. Salary and projects completed. Who can tell us what this chart is telling? What can you deduce from this chart? What does it tell you? What does it tell you about the relationship between salary and projects completed? Does it tell you anything at all? Looking at the salary and looking at project completed, of course, I would explain to you, but can anybody tell us, does it tell you anything? If it does, use the raise hand icon and I'll call you up to respond. Anybody at all who wants to try, volunteer to tell us what you think? Okay, I can see Balogun's hand up. Balogun, I've asked you to unmute yourself. Please go ahead. Tell us what you can see from this chart. What do you see? Balogun, are you there? I've asked you to unmute, please.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you now. Go ahead, Balogun.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Go ahead, Balogun. We can hear you.
All right. The relationship between salary and project completed is, you check the correlation. It's observed that as the project completed increase, the salary also decrease. It also increased.
Fantastic. Brilliant job, Balogun. Thank you very much for contributing. Let's hear from God's Power. God's Power, please go ahead very quickly. 2 minutes, please. God's Power, I've asked you to unmute yourself. Okay. Waz, I think God's Power just ran away. Waz, go ahead, please. Let's hear from you. Go on, Waz. You're unmuted. You can go on and speak. Oh, there's something wrong. There's something about the audio today. Okay, so somebody's saying linear relationship. The more projects you complete, the higher the salary. Fantastic. Absolutely. And that was what Oladele told us earlier. So because of time, I would have loved to get, more contributions from you guys. Okay, so I'm not the only one doing all the talking. And that's what we can see here. But how is that very evident? Let's look at it carefully. Okay, so let's look at what we have carefully. So when we asked Analyze Data to tell us project completed by salary or salary by projects completed, do we have any relationship? It gave us a what? A scatter plot. A scatter plot does what? It shows us the correlation. And what is correlation? Correlation is simply the relationship between two or more variables. The relationship between two or more variables. Here we have two variables, salary and projects completed. What is the relationship? Now, if you look carefully, you would see that as salary increases, the number of projects also what? Increases. If you look at all the different points, as salary increases, here let's take this point here, for example. Look at this point. Here the salary is about, let's say 82,000, and projects completed is about what? About, let's say 8. Now, if you go higher a bit, you see the line is trending what? Upwards. And when you have a correlation trending upwards, it shows that you have a positive correlation. And what is a positive correlation? A positive correlation simply means that as one variable is increasing, the other variable is also increasing. There's a corresponding increase in the second variable. All right. So as salary increases, number of projects also tends to increase. Number of projects also tends to what? Increase. And you can see that clearly. The higher the salary, the higher the number of what? Projects. And this clearly shows a positive correlation. Now, what do you do with this? You can do so many things, but we're not doing anything complex. From here, you can start to build a linear regression model. You can start to do what? Build a linear regression model to help you predict what the salary should be based on the number of projects. All right, to help you predict what the salary should be based on the number of projects. We're not going to get into all of that, but we can see clearly that there's a relationship. So as an organization, what can we do with data like this? It tells us that, look, if we're going to encourage people to what? Complete more projects. How can we encourage them? By increasing salary. So create a sort of a reward system where you complete more projects, you get a particular amount of money, you get extra money here and there, and so on and so forth. All right. So again, I could have created the scatter plot myself, but I didn't have to because I have a tool called Analyze Data. I have a tool called what? Analyze Data. And Analyze Data is a fantastic, powerful tool in Excel. So for the month of September, what we've been doing at Tenalytics is using different AI-enabled tools to solve problems, because there's a narrative around saying that, look, AI is going to take the jobs of data analysts, the jobs of data scientists, and so on. But I always tell people that, look, AI would not take your job. AI would only complement your job. AI would make things easier. It would make you complete your task faster. Now, if I had to teach you how to create this particular type of scatter plot, would spend perhaps the next 30 minutes. I would explain, okay, you have to select this column, go back, select that column, go to insert chart. I'll start explaining all those things bit by bit. But what did I do? I leveraged the Analyze Data to help us get this done. And we can clearly see, just like the gentleman told us, there is a positive relationship between salary and projects completed. As projects completed increases, salary what? Increases. Or as salary increases, project completed also what? Increases. So this is a very fantastic, insight to also see from this data. Now we're going to try something else, okay? And that is what Pauline sent at the beginning of the session. Pauline said, are there more productive employees, or are more productive employees paid higher or less? And what we've done, we can use this same scatter plot to show us, looking at salary and what? Productivity. Salary and productivity. So if productivity increases, does that lead to increase in salary? Because if we want to reward employees for doing a fantastic job, or reward or encourage employees to solve more projects, how do we encourage them? Do we make them more productive? Do we look at the productivity scores, or is that what we should be looking at in terms of, driving the employees to do more? So we've seen clearly that one thing that works here, one thing that is clearly shown, is that projects completed would increase as salary increases. I'll go back to my data and let's try something else. Let's try what Pauline sent to us at the beginning. And what did Pauline say? Pauline is looking at productivity and salary. Okay, productivity and what? Salary. So let's try that. So I'm going to type in salary by productivity. Remember, salary by productivity. Productivity percent, that's the colon. Okay, remember we have productivity percent that shows the productivity of employees. And then we also have a salary colon. So we want to see the relationship between productivity and salary. So I click on that, I hit enter, and let's see what it gives us. So it's looking for answers. So let's wait. It has given us another scatter plot. I would insert this particular chart, increase, and let's take it into a new chart, into a new sheet rather. Let's take it into a new sheet. I'll cut it from here, Control X to cut. Take it into a new sheet, paste it in here, Control V. Now, this is what I have. I have salary on the y-axis and I have productivity on the x-axis. Remember what we saw here, okay? We could see clearly that the line was tending upwards. All right, the line was tending upwards. If we add a trend line to this chart, that's the one for salary and projects completed. If I click on the chart and I click on the plus sign in here, you'd see something called what? Trend line. Trend what? Line. Trend line, you have different types of trend lines. If I click on the front arrow sign, you'd see different trend lines, linear, exponential. I'm just going to click on linear. Now, once I click on linear, look at the line. You can see the line around the different dots, and you can see that the points are close to the line. So it tends upwards. And when you have a chart that looks like this, it means that you have a positive correlation. It's tending upwards. It is positive. As one increases, the other one increases. Okay, as one increases, the other one increases. And you have different types of positive correlations. You can give different examples. As the temperature increases, the demand for ice cream also tends to increase. Or as the temperature increases, the demand for a cold bottle of water in traffic also increases. So that's a positive correlation. And we can see that there's definitely a positive correlation in here from where? Between salary and projects completed. But when we did productivity and salary, what can you tell? Does it show you something? Can you tell anything? Can you tell anything from this chart? Can you tell anything from this chart? If you can, please use the raised hand icon. Let's get to hear from you. Is there anything you can tell from the chart that you see? Can you tell anything from this chart at all? Anything? Anything? Does anybody want to speak? We're all looking at it carefully. We are scared to make mistakes. So I'm not sure. This is different from the one we just did with the salary and productivity. Now, if you look at this, you'd see that it doesn't show any particular type of relationship. It is not tending upwards. It is not tending downwards. It is just scattered all over the place. So you can say authoritatively that there is no relationship. There is what? No relationship between salary and productivity. There is no correlation, no relationship. If you look at the one where we had salary and projects completed, it's tending upwards. As one increases, the other one increases. But when you look at productivity and salary, what do you notice? No correlation, all right? There is no correlation, no relationship between the two. So if you increase salary because you want to increase productivity in this organization, you are likely not going to get any results. However, if you increase salary because you want projects to get completed, you are likely going to get more results. There's also, the discussion of correlation versus causation. That's a different topic entirely. We're not going into that because that's not the essence of our session today. Now, you've seen how to leverage, how to use the analyzed data. One way of getting things done very fast without, let's assume you don't want to tailor it to a particular type of analysis like we've been doing, salary versus productivity, salary versus projects completed. I don't want to tailor it. I just want analyzed data to give me insights on the departments. Okay, give me insights from the data that I have. Give me insights on the departments within this organization. I can simply just type departments. I can simply just type what? Departments insights. I just type department insights and then I hit enter. That's all I need to do. And then you'd see different charts with regards to departments. Now, if you don't see what you want, here it's showing us the position and age. It's showing us age and department, not really what we want. Now, if you don't see what you want, you can then start to tailor it to specifics. All right, I've not seen what I want, for example. If I want to see salary by department, I can then change it to see salary by department. Okay, so department insights, I can just say here, I change it to what? Salary by department. All right, because when I did department insight, nothing really came up. So salary by department, hit enter, and then it gives me a particular type of chart. And from the charts that we have in here, you can see clearly that finance and IT seems to have the highest average salary in this particular organization. All right, if I don't want the bar chart, you can change the type of chart by just typing it here. Okay, so I can type column charts, I can type a pie chart, a donut chart, and so on and so forth. And then it gives me the type of chart that I want. So you can see the average salary across the different departments. And there are so many other things you can do to help you make sense of the data that you have. Data analytics, HR analytics doesn't have to be difficult. It can be a lot easier as long as you know the right tools to use to get the answers that you want to get out of your data. I wish we could do a whole lot more, but I want us to wrap our session within the next 1 hour. So we have 2 hours. We've done about 1 hour, like I promised. We'll go back to the slide. What we want to do is to then understand what are the tools necessary or the tools required to transition into HR analytics. How can I get into HR analytics? What do I need to learn? And how do I need to learn? Okay, because these two things are very, very important. I've gotten to interact with so many people, and I found out that the reason why people don't get jobs is very simple. The reason is very simple. You have a whole lot of talented, brilliant people out there. They have very good technical skill, but they don't have the other skills, the softer skills to land the job. The technical is just 50% of what you need. I say this every single time. Okay, anybody can have the technical skill, but very few have the other 50% that helps you get the job. And I'll be speaking, on that to show you what that other 50% is and how you can also be a part of it. All right. So let's get back into the slides to complete our work for today. And like I said, everybody would have access to the recording. You'd also have access to the data sets and so on. I think technical is even less. Social skills should be higher. That's what Doc is saying. I agree with you, Doc, to some extent. Okay, so as a HR professional or as a HR analytics professional, what's your responsibility? Your responsibility is to take data, analyze that data, generate insights, and give recommendations to any organization. You want to help develop HR strategies, improve the processes within the HR department with regards to people in that organization to help the company achieve its objectives. That's your role as a HR professional, all right? We've seen instances where a HR professional learning HR analytics took that individual from an assistant manager to head of HR. And I'll tell you the story and how he was able to achieve that. This was a gentleman who had been in HR for a very long time, started his career with that organization. Now, the organization wanted to transition into a more strategic, focused organization, especially within their HR department. The head of HR was leaving, and they needed somebody to fill that role. Now, this gentleman had come to us. He had started our HR analytics program, and then he came to me and asked, oh, there's this role, there's this opening in our organization. Do you think I should go ahead and apply? And I told him, of course, why not? Give it a shot. All right. He said, look, to be the head of HR, you need to have been a manager in the organization. And he was an assistant manager. But I said, what's the harm in trying? If you don't, for the roles you don't apply to, there's a 100% chance you don't get it. But if you apply, there is a 50% chance that you might get it. You either get it or you don't. All right. So go ahead and apply and let's see what comes out of it. He applied to that role. The head of HR had resigned, and the role was opened to both internal staff, internal employees, and also to the external public. He was the only candidate that applied for the head of HR role that had data analytics skills, that knew how to use Excel, that knew how to use Power BI, that knew how to use SQL. So during the recruitment process, the assessment center, they were required to build a dashboard and communicate the insights they got from the data given to them. And because he had learned the skill, he floored all the other candidates during the assessment center. And eventually, he got the job. Now, he didn't just get the job. He got the job and taught all the other the HR department members how to use Power BI, Excel, SQL, and all the other data analytics skills with regards to analyzing data, and especially for people-related data. And that's what having skills as a HR analytics professional gives to you. You're not doing the conventional HR activities, writing leave, tracking leave of employees, or this person has gone on leave, coming back next week. When you have performance review sessions, HR only goes there to say number of employees, number of people on leave, nothing strategic, nothing for planning, looking into the future, forecasting into the future. What's the difference between turnover and attrition? What's our attrition rates? Why are people leaving the organization? What are the factors driving people that are leaving the organization? All right. If I can identify those factors, I can have conversations with people that are likely going to leave. Because if I know the factors driving attrition in my company, I can then identify employees that are at risk of leaving. And if I can identify them, I can have something called stay interviews. Stay interviews. All right. So organizations are very fast to have exit interviews. Employee drops his or her resignation, and the next thing for HR to do is to carry out exit interviews. Oh, why are you leaving? Blah, 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 da, 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 and so on and so forth. Why can't we have stay interviews to keep employees from leaving to keep them within the organization, because we have done our analysis, identified key factors, key influencers that will drive employees to leave. And we've been able to identify those employees at risk, and we are having stay interviews with them. So it's absolutely important for a HR analytics professional. You take data that looks like this, just like we've done a few minutes ago, and you'd have the skills to turn it into something that looks like this, into a dashboard where you can start to answer questions within the organization. You can tell a story and you can give recommendations from a data-driven perspective, right? So that's the role of the HR analytics professional, moving from mundane to strategic, moving from conventional to data-driven, okay? We've had multiple masterclass sessions just like this. So you have them available on YouTube online for you to watch. So this, for example, you have the link to this session. What we did here was to identify the key factors that were driving employees to leave this particular organization. Okay, we identified the factors, and from there, we could start to tell the employees that are likely going to leave. And once you know that, you've solved at least 80% of your problems, because you can start having conversations with those employees to stop them from leaving. So when you receive the slide today, go ahead, watch the recording, go on YouTube, subscribe, follow us, watch the video, and have an amazing time. Enjoy. Okay, so what does it take for you to become a HR analytics professional? People would have different, if I ask this question, what do you need to learn? You get so many answers, all right? Oh, you need to learn this, you need to learn that. But what exactly do you need to get into HR analytics? To analyze data, to help companies take data-driven decisions and drive HR strategy, HR policies from a data-driven perspective. Very straightforward. What you need to do is, first of all, you learn the data analytics skills. So HR analytics itself is a blend, all right? It's the convergence of HR and data. HR and data analytics. The combination gives you HR analytics. So you learn how to use data analytic tools. First of all, you start with problem solving. Okay, and why is problem solving important? Problem solving is important because this is where you learn how to identify a problem and get to the root cause of that problem using different techniques and different tools. Techniques like the 5 whys to root cause identification, where you ask why 5 times until you get to the root cause, because you don't want to solve the problem or the symptoms of the problem. You want to get to the roots of the problem itself. Okay, why do we have a decline in revenue, or why do we have attrition increasing? You ask why 5 times until you get to the root cause. All right, you'd learn how to use different other frameworks, like the CRISP-DM framework, for example, to solving data-related projects. You'd learn how to use the CRISP-DM, which is the cross-industry standard process for data mining. It's a framework that cuts across all industries on how to solve data-related problems as a HR professional. And the beauty is you don't have to have done HR before. You don't need any experience in HR. You don't need any experience in data. What you get when you join our HR analytics program is to learn all the skills from start to what gets you into getting a job as a HR analytics professional. So problem solving, root cause identification, the CRISP-DM framework, the McKinsey-Mason model, where you break problems into multiple parts and solve those different problems. You also learn how to leverage tools like the prioritization matrix and so on and so forth. Once you've learned how to solve problems and the techniques to solving problems, you then move into Excel. All right, Excel is, I'll tell you, one of the most versatile data analytic tools you would ever learn. Excel is one of the most underrated tools. And I keep on telling people, people love things that sound fancy. Python, MongoDB, Cassandra, very fancy words that sounds technical and you think it makes you sound very intelligent. You use Excel in most of the jobs you get as a data analyst, as a HR analyst, at least 60 to 70% of the time. Because most of the things you'll be doing, you can get it done using Excel. Get it done using Power BI rather than using very complex tools. So Excel is fantastic. We've seen how to use analyzed data to solve problems that will take us maybe 1 hour to complete. We are doing it in 1 minute by simply typing in the questions into analyzed data. You learn how to use different functions, advanced functions, and I'll show you how to apply to jobs. We'd look at different jobs. You'd see the requirements of those jobs across the UK, across Canada, and how you can also apply to those jobs. And I'll share success stories of people that have gotten jobs after our training program. Once you've learned Excel, you then move into Power BI. Of course, Power BI handles a whole lot more data than Excel. Power BI is an amazing data visualization tool for business intelligence. You can do amazing stuff using Power BI. This masterclass I talked about, we did this using Power BI, using another AI-driven visual that exists in Power BI called the key influencers. All right, so make sure you watch this video and see the amazing stuff we did. So once you've learned problem solving, you've learned Excel, you've learned Power BI, you then move into SQL, SQL, Structured Query Language. Now, structured query language, this helps you to interact with databases. SQL is used, every organization would have their data structured in a database. All right, how do you then interact with that database? You have a HRIS system where all the employee data in terms of performance, talent management, everything is in the HRIS system. How do you get access to the data? How do you interact with the database that the company has? Okay, so these are some of the things you'd want to get. And of course, SQL helps you achieve that. Solomon, I see you. Thanks for joining the session today. And then once you've learned your data analytics tools, problem solving, Excel, Power BI, SQL, you then move into HR analytics and performance evaluation. And of course, as a HR analytics professional, you want to know how to analyze the performance of the organization with regards to the people within that organization. So you learn how to do that. What are the different metrics you need to analyze, from attrition to turnover to absenteeism to talent? How do you come up with those metrics to ensure that you are looking at the right things that would keep the organization at a particular level with regards to its growth objectives, and see where you're falling short and how to provide recommendations to address those areas? You'd learn how to build dashboards using Power BI, using Excel to help answer key questions. And of course, you don't want to continue repeating and building, dashboards every single day. So you learn how to automate your reports so that every week, if you have a weekly report that you give, or you have a monthly report, all you have to do is get your data, put it somewhere, click on refresh, and then your dashboard is updated. You don't have to always create from scratch every single time. And of course, building your case and creating action. This is where we prepare you on how to stand out, starting from where you are to getting a job. I talked about the gentleman who became head of HR because nobody else had the skills to analyze data, to present it using a Power BI dashboard, which he could because he had joined our program. So he could do all of that. And one of the ways we prepared him, or we prepped him for doing that, is working on data related to what he does. So every single thing he learned in class, he was able to apply it in the real world. So you have to build your case, create action wherever you are in your organization so that you stand out and people start to see the work that you do. If HR was never part of the team called up during a performance management review session, put your hand up to request. Can I do a presentation? I have a dashboard to show certain key insights that I found or I think will be useful to the next level growth of our organization and so on. And of course, you'd also learn ChatGPT for analytics. We've had so many sessions on ChatGPT, AI, generative AI tools, and so on and so forth. Now, how much does a HR analytics professional earn across the major economies? In the UK, about £32,500. In Canada, about 71,000 Canadian dollars. And in the US, about 62,000 US dollars on the average per annum. And how long does it take you to learn to become a HR analytics professional? Just 4 months. 3 months project-based classes and 1 month internship. And let me explain this a bit, better to you. Project-based classes, this is where you work on projects. So you're not learning by watching YouTube. You're not learning by watching videos. You're not learning by watching somebody do stuff and then you're replicating. No, you have a trainer right in front of you helping you solve real world problems. All right, you'd solve attrition problems, you solve absenteeism problems, you'd solve a talent management related issue in an organization. You get the data, identify where we are getting bad hires. What talent pipeline gives us bad hires in the organization? You would solve real world problems every single day for 3 months. Once you are done with that, you then work on a capstone project. The capstone project brings all the skills you've learned together on a single project. All right, you'd bring Excel, you'd bring Power BI, you'd bring SQL, you'd bring problem solving and all the other things you've learned, and then you'd solve a capstone project. Once you are done with the capstone project, you get a certificate to showcase the skills you've just learned, and then you move into the internship. Now, the internship is one of the best things you can ever get yourself involved in. The internship is structured in a way that it simulates the real life work environment. Okay, you get to work with different other teams. You collaborate with the data analyst, you collaborate with the data engineer, you collaborate with the data scientist and the business analyst. You'd work together on a single project. The data engineer would be responsible for scraping the data, getting the data from wherever the data is and creating the data pipeline. As the HR analytics professional, is your responsibility to then take that data and analyze and provide recommendations based on what you have seen. So the internship itself is where you build 6 high-end projects that you would add to your portfolio. All right, at the end of your internship, you create a portfolio. The portfolio would warehouse all the projects you've worked on. You'd have a link to that portfolio on your CV. Any recruiter that sees your CV, they click on that link, they have access to all the projects you've worked on, and that gives them a sense of the person they are bringing on board, because they would see what you've done, the quality of the project you've worked on, and that sets you apart from all other candidates and sets you apart from the competition generally. Now, when and how would you learn? The classes hold every Saturday. You have your live class on Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. All right? Saturdays, you have your live class. Your live class is where you have somebody like myself helping you walk through key projects, helping you solve problems. You have the opportunity to ask questions. If I do something on Excel like I did today and you don't get that same thing I've done, or you tried yours, you got an error, you'd have the opportunity to share your screen, and then we get it solved, we get it resolved, and you have everything sorted out. So it's not the case where you're watching something, you get stuck, and then you really don't know what to do afterwards. So Saturdays, you have your live classes. And then on Sundays, you have something we call the Watch Me Do It video. So this is Sunday is a self-paced session where you don't have to be in a live class. At your own convenience, in the evening, in the morning, depending on when you want, you have the opportunity to watch your videos and learn all the concepts you need to learn ahead of the next live class where you start to apply the skill. Okay, so these are the 10 different skills that you need to get as a HR analytics professional, or if you want to move into HR analytics. And this is what it takes for you to get into the space. All right. Now, I'll move into the other aspects. We've talked about the technical skill, which is a given. Before any organization would consider you, you must have all these 10 skills. You must have projects to show that you've solved, you've done this. There must be proof of work. You must have something to show that you've done it before. Now, how do you apply to jobs? And a lot of people get it confused because I've learned a HR analytics program, or I've completed a HR analytics program. I'm only going to apply to HR analytics job or HR analyst roles. But that's a very wrong way of applying to jobs. So one of the things we also do for you is we show you how to apply. All right, we work with you, we show you how to apply to jobs, and there are so many roles across the HR value chain itself, the HR ecosystem. You can get a job as a HR data analyst. And one of our participants got a job. I'll show you her story. I'll tell you about her story maybe later down the line when we get to testimonials. She got a job in Canada as a HR data analyst after completing a HR training with us. Right, with one of the largest telecommunications company in Canada. The title was HR data analyst, not the conventional HR analyst that you'd see. You have roles like talent acquisition analyst, diversity and inclusion analyst, HR analytics consultant, workforce planning analyst, performance management analyst, compensation analyst, and there are so many other roles, so many other different nomenclature within the HR analyst realm. And these are the things we bring to your notice so that when you start applying to jobs, you know what to look out for and how to apply to the best jobs out there. Okay, so you have further breakdown into the curriculum itself, what you'll be learning under problem solving, what you'll be learning under Excel. Because one of the questions we always get is, I'm a beginner, I've never done this before. Can I actually learn and get value? Can I actually learn and do all the things, all the amazing stuff you've talked about? And the answer is yes. Your Excel, for example, your first class is on introduction to Excel. You're not going to dive into Excel to start to build or do anything or analyze. No, you start from what? Introduction. What is a row? What is a column? Right? When a column and a row merges, it is called a cell. This is the Excel ribbon. This is the status bar. This is the active cell. So you have the introduction into Excel. So we assume that you don't know anything. You are a fresher. You have no idea. You have no clue. And we work with you to help you learn all these skills, starting from the nitty-gritty. All right. So you have all the details of what you learn. So you have this available on the slide. You can take out time and go through all the different aspects. We talked about the salary already for the HR analytics professional. And coming back to the salary, this is where I always tell people that I'm currently in the UK. And 2 days ago, I was in Bradford, the University of Bradford. We got a partnership deal with the University of Bradford, especially working with the Nigeria community, the Nigeria Student Society, helping the Nigeria students get data analytics skills and help them transition to get jobs. One of the things you'd find when you come to the UK is everybody goes for one thing: care jobs, support work. I want to do care jobs. You have bankers, you have branch managers, you have very high level people coming to this country and doing care jobs. It's appalling. Now, with all due respect to everybody doing that, okay? But one thing I've found out is most of these people have no clue that there are other opportunities available. I can learn HR analytics, which I carve a niche for myself, and I can apply to jobs and get sponsored jobs here in the UK. You have a clear career progression as a HR analytics professional. Okay, you work for any organization, for example, like the lady who got a job with the NHS as a HR analyst. You work with that organization for 5 years, and then You see where you've got, what you've been able to achieve. If you need to pivot into another industry, you can do that easily because you are a professional working on a clear career path, a clear career progression within the data ecosystem, compared to working in care, for example, or doing support work, or working in the warehouse, and so on and so forth. So it's very important that, look, we start to rid ourselves of that mindset, the herd mentality, because everybody is doing this, everybody is talking about this, I must do the same. That was the major, I would say, the major information we had to pass across to people at the University of Bradford 2 days ago when they had their freshers fair. So we had to make the Nigerians aware that, look, yes, you get into the country, same thing that happens in Canada. So many Nigerians, you don't find Nigerians getting the best jobs. You don't find Africans and people of the Black community, Ghanaians, Kenyans, you don't find them getting the tech jobs. And let me give you one typical example. Last year, 2022, in Canada, you had 25,000 jobs given to foreign immigrants in the tech ecosystem, 25,000. So I'm going to write the numbers down. 25,000 jobs given to foreign immigrants. Out of the 25,000 jobs within the tech ecosystem given to foreign immigrants, 15,000 were Indians, representing over 60%. 15,000 out of 25 were Indians. First of all, the top 10 roles, only Nigeria was the only African country in the top 10. And guess how many jobs Nigerians could get out of 25,000? 1,800. When India got 15,000, Nigeria, which was number 2, and also the only African country, got 1,800 jobs within the tech ecosystem in Canada. What are the Nigerians doing? What are the Ghanaians doing? What are the Kenyans doing? We're all doing care. We're all doing support work. We're all working in the warehouses. We're all doing Deliveroo, Uber, and so on and so forth. So for us at Tenalytics, we want to get as many people to move from that mindset into getting the job within the tech ecosystem. All you have to do is learn the skill. That's all it takes. And I'll share so many success stories. We've helped over 1,000 people within the last 3 years to make that switch from the classroom, no experience, no idea, they had never done it before, and they were able to get jobs, sponsored jobs, transition, got their first jobs in tech from the classroom after training with us. Okay, now how have we been successful? How have we been able to do this to help so many people get jobs? First of all, one of the things we do is you have an up-to-date curriculum. Now, you saw me talking about AI, you saw ChatGPT for analytics in the curriculum. We always move with the trends and what the industry requires. The industry wants people that also knows how to speak about the new trends, the new technologies. You know what BARD is, you know what ChatGPT is, you know what a large language model is, you know what generative AI means. You understand all these terminologies because you have learned in an organization that also moves with the trend using an up-to-date curriculum. You work with industry experts and you learn experientially. Okay, so you're not learning from somebody that learns on YouTube. You learn from me, for example. I've had over a decade experience within the tech ecosystem, working with some of the biggest organizations across the globe. You work with professionals from PwC, Deloitte, KPMG, the Big Four, Apple, McKinsey, and the biggest organizations across the globe. You'd work with professionals that have been there, they've done the job, and they're helping other people to transition. All right. So you learn from an experiential learning approach, learning from my experience and also learning by doing. Okay, because you work in a project-based environment. You also have a blended learning approach. All right. So not every day, you don't go to class every day, Saturday class, Sunday class. No. You get tired, you get frustrated, you miss classes. It's normal. So you have a blended approach where even with people that say I'm a slow learner, once you go to class on Saturday, on Sunday, you don't have to attend a live class. All you have to do is watch a set of bite-sized videos to learn concepts. You learn those concepts ahead of the next live class where you work on a project. All right. So today you learn something on employee engagement. Your next class on Saturday, where you have your project-based live class, you're working on a project which related to what? Employee engagement. All right. And then the additional employability services. This is the most important out of all the things you'd get from us, your additional employability services. And I'll speak a little bit about that in the next few slides. And last but not the least is what? Your internship. Okay, so you get to intern with us in a simulated real life work environment. All right, now what's the additional employability services? This is what I said has made us so successful in helping people get jobs. The technical skill is not what you need. It's just a part of what you need. It's 50% of what you need. The other 50% that helps you get a job anywhere across the globe, number one, is your CV. Your CV review. We help you review your CV. And if you don't have a CV that communicates and presents you in the best possible light, you're never going to get called for an interview. Okay, so how do you structure your CV in a way that it passes through the ATS system? It has the right keywords to attract, to get called, to attract the best organizations, and to also get past the ATS to get called for an interview. Yesterday, we had a session. I had a session personally with the current July, August, and September cohorts that started our programs with us. And we used ChatGPT to tailor your experience. Okay, because one of the questions we always get is, I have worked as an accountant, or I have worked as a mechanical engineer, but then I want to transition into HR analytics. What happens to my previous work experience? Do I lose my previous work experience, my years of experience, because I'm transitioning into a new career path? And the answer is no. So what we did yesterday was to show how to tailor your CV, your previous work experience, to have a flavor of the new career path you are moving into, leveraging tools like ChatGPT. So your CV is absolutely important. That's your representation in paper format. If you don't have a CV, we show you how to build one. If you have one, we show you how to always tailor your CV to meet the job requirements that you're applying to. If a job description says we need somebody that knows Power BI, DAX, for example, and on your CV, you have Power BI, there is a high tendency that this Power BI that you have on your CV would not be recognized. Why? Because what the company needs is what? Power BI DAX. Okay, so how do you tailor your CV? How do you ensure that the keywords indicated in the job requirement matches the keywords that you have on your CV? Okay, so these are some of the things would help you understand, so that when you put in that application, you start to get better results with regards to being called up for interviews. Now you also move to LinkedIn optimization. So now I'm speaking about the other things you need to do apart from the technical skill. If you ever want to get a job in any of the major organizations, in the major economies, in Africa, in the UK, in Canada, in the US, you want to work remotely for organizations across Europe from your home country, these are the other things you have to do. LinkedIn optimization. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, then you must be joking. If you have one, but it's not optimized, would help you optimize your LinkedIn profile, would show you what to do. And I always tell people that LinkedIn is your #1 repository. LinkedIn is your #1 repository. You want to move into HR analytics. If I go to your LinkedIn, I must see that you speak about that. I must see that you build projects about that. You must have social proof to show that you look, I have done stuff in this area. I have built stuff. I have done a dashboard. I have created something. I've given recommendations. I've spoken about this. You must have that proof of work. You must have that social proof that you have done this before. Okay, so if you go on LinkedIn, for example, and just type Tenalytics, you'd see all the amazing stuff our people are doing. And what does that do for them? It gives you visibility to the best organizations out there. All right, so we help you optimize your LinkedIn. We help you optimize your Upwork profile. If you don't have an Upwork profile, we'll show you how to build one. Okay, if you have one already, we'll show you how to optimize so that you can start to apply to remote jobs and get remote opportunities. I'll showcase at least 2 to 3 people on this slide that have joined our program. They've gotten jobs working out of different countries and working for companies in the US and also in Canada. Okay, navigating the job market. This is another very important aspect. A lot of people have the skills, but they don't know how to apply to jobs. They don't know the opportunities available within their space. They don't know how to get sponsored jobs, even though it's staring at them right in the face. And this is where we show you all the available opportunities within different locations, all right? This employability session for us is everything to get you a job, everything to get you a job. For example, things as simple as transitioning from a particular type of visa to the other type of visa. If you're a student, for example, you are moving from a student visa to a skilled worker visa. What are the requirements? What do you need to know? How do you move? What must you have? People don't know it's a point-based system, just like so many other visa categories. You need to score a particular number of points, 70 to be precise. What criteria fit into the 70 points? What must you get to get the 70 points? These are the things we bring to you during the Navigating the Job Market session. The recommendations and references. Every organization wants to know that you've done what you said you've done before. They want to know that you have somebody who can vouch for you, that you are of good character, you are somebody who can come into the organization and get work done. I get a minimum of about 4 to 5 references and recommendations from different organizations every day. Okay, so you get recommendation. This is usually the last stage. Once you have received an offer, the next stage is provide us with 3 references. We need to confirm who you are. We need to know you a little bit better. So you provide those references, and your referees have to then provide the organization with information about yourself. Now, if you don't have somebody to show and somebody to also tell them that, look, you've done this before, you have the skills in this area, you know the different HR metrics, you can use Excel to do this, use Power BI to do this. Once you don't have that confirmation, you're likely not going to get that job. Okay, so recommendation and references, absolutely important. We also help you do this. Job and interview preparation. Now you have gotten interviews. How do you prepare? How do you know what to say when you enter the room? How do you answer very simple, basic questions like introduce yourself, tell me about yourself? How do you answer questions like that? So this is where we at Tenalytics, our different data associates, including myself, the co-founder, we work with you to help you prepare for your interviews. Because this is usually, once you get your foot into the door, you should that foot should not come out without an offer. So what should you say? How do you represent yourself in the best possible format? Okay, what questions should you look out for? And I'll give you a typical example. Next week, we are having a mock interview session, all right? What's the mock interview session all about? We have our participants that are currently undergoing their training with us. 3 of them would volunteer to come up, apply to a fictitious job, and then I would ask them questions based on the job they've applied to. Now, part of the requirements of being a part of the simulation, the mock interview session, is you must be somebody who is shy. Because you have a lot of people who don't know how to come out to speak. They are very meek, they are shy, they can't speak in public, they can't talk to people. And when they get into interview panels, they ask them very simple questions, they mumble their words, and they really don't know what to say. Okay, so you start to break those walls, you start to get more confident in speaking. You have to come out and speak. And from there, you build your interview experience, because interview experience is a thing where you are confident going to speak to people, talking about yourself, talking about your experience, and doing it confidently without any fear. All right? Without you being nervous about the outcome at the end of the day. So we help you prepare for this during the interview session itself. You have your weekly mentorship sessions. Like I said, every Thursday evenings, I had the session with them yesterday where I showed them how to tailor their CVs to their previous work experience based on the job they're trying to apply to. So we looked at a couple of CVs yesterday. Somebody that has worked in the bank as a customer success analyst. He's moving into data analytics. How do you tailor your previous work experience to fit into data analytics? We looked at that. Okay, we also looked at somebody who is an accountant moving into business analysis. How do you tailor your CV to business analysis from an accounting background? So these were the things we did yesterday during the mentorship session. And of course, you also have on-the-job support. You get a job and then you have to quickly find your feet. You'd still need some level of support, and we are always there to help you do that. Okay, so all of this from 1 to 6 to the mentorship session to on-the-job support are the things that you must have. You can't get it anywhere else. You don't have anywhere where you get all of this to help you prepare to get that job. Your technical skill would never get you the job. You can be good. There are so many good people. I've interacted with them. I've met them. Fantastic, brilliant, intelligent minds, but they have a crappy CV. They don't even have a LinkedIn profile. So how do you put yourself out there? How do you get a job? All right. And these are the type of people we work with. We help you do all these things, get all these things done so you can get a job. And of course, I talked about the internship. The internship is one of the best things anybody who joins our program would ever get to experience. And this is because you work in a collaborative environment with other professionals to achieving a single goal, which is similar to the real life work environment. You'd work with different people. You try to get them to collaborate with you. You'd work with different personalities, and you'd also bring your own personality to the table and get work done at the end of the day. At the end of the internship, you'd work on 6 real life projects, and you'd add these to your CV, and that stands you out eventually. You'd build amazing dashboards like this. All right. This is Deborah. Deborah built this. She joined our HR analytics program, and this is a dashboard on attrition. Okay, you'd learn how to build dashboards like this, how to extract insights from dashboards that looks like this. So you'd build this. This is something Deborah built. The link she posted on LinkedIn. Like I always tell people, look, anything you do, LinkedIn is your repository. You must post, you must showcase that you have done amazing stuff. So once you get the slides, click on the link, interact with some of the amazing things that our participants are doing. This is Kauthar. Kauthar also built this HR analytics dashboard, HR attrition, posted on LinkedIn as well. So go ahead, interact with it. You'd see what Kauthar has been doing. You'd build something like this as well using Power BI. This is Yin Layefa. Yin Layefa also joined our HR analytics program, built this amazing recruitment dashboard to show the recruitment source, what are the issues, where are we spending too much money with regards to talent management in the organization and so on. Now, you would also work on other type of data in the HR analytics program, not just people-related data, because we want to build an all-encompassing skill for you to handle e-commerce data, to handle sales-related data, project-related data. So this was built by Olufemi, and you'd also build something that looks amazing like this. All right, this was also built by Olufemi as well, and it was posted on LinkedIn. So please feel free to interact with these submissions by people that have gone through our program. And like I mentioned, the program is for 4 months, 3 months project-based classes. After your classes, project-based, you get to work on a capstone project, and then you have your 1 month internship. Classes are Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Live classes where you have your instructor, you have a trainer who will work with you to help you solve problems. And on Sundays, you have your Watch Me Do It self-paced videos. So it's self-paced. You don't need to be in a live class. At your own convenience, you get to watch the videos ahead of the next live class the following Saturday. I can see a lot of people asking me questions on, how much does it take for me to be a part of the session? I'm coming to that in the next 2 minutes. All right, you'd work with amazing facilitators, and one of them is Emmanuel Abegunde, one of the people that also helped us construct the HR analytics curriculum. He's the head of human resources at Pedabo, one of the largest, biggest boutique consulting firms in Nigeria. He's also a member of the World Innovation Summit for Education in Qatar. Emmanuel has done amazing work in the HR space, would be one of your facilitators. You'd also have Joseph Kende, who is a HR professional, a HR business partner with IBM. You'd also get to work with Joseph. Joseph would help you understand key HR objectives, how to align HR objectives, and how to perform fantastic HR-related analysis using different types of data. And of course, you'd work with me as well, especially with the data analytics related areas. And I would help you transition. You'd see me all the time during your mentorship sessions every week. You'd work with Mohammed, who is a senior data associate with us at Tenalytics. He's an Excel expert, a Python expert, a Power BI expert, Tableau. He's helped over 2,000 people transition in data analytics. You'd also work with Oladapo. Oladapo is a Big Four trained professional. He's a senior consultant with Deloitte in Bermuda. He would work with you specifically on Excel. So a lot of your Watch Me Do It videos, you'd see Oladapo in those videos helping you solve problems. You've not learned Excel in that way. Everybody that has gone through Oladapo's class will tell you, I thought I knew Excel until I joined Oladapo's class. All right. Oladapo is one of the professionals you'd work with. You'd also work with Olugbemi, who is a business data analyst with a law depot in Canada. All right. Olugbemi would specifically work with you on Power BI, how to use Power BI to do amazing stuff. And we have so many other professionals across different areas that would work with you and help you achieve your goal to becoming a HR analytics professional. You have Nene, who's a commercial analytics professional working with Zelos in the UK. Zelos is a Nike licensee. You have Inena, who is a senior product manager. You have Teniola, who is a customer and digital analyst with one of the Big Fours in the UK. Also with Abdurrahman, who also works as one of the Big Fours in the UK as well. So you have amazing professionals who would work with you. I have these three beautiful, fantastic professionals. Okay, when you get the slide, listen to Victor, listen to her, listen to Adebola as well, and get to hear the amazing stuff they've been able to achieve in their career, joining our program and achieving their objective of the reason why they have joined. All right, so listen to them and listen to their beautiful story. Listen to this lady as well, Kauthar. Listen to Sheila. Sheila is from Ghana, joined our program from Ghana. Listen to Sheila and what she has to say. Absolutely, absolutely amazing. All right. So how can you apply to jobs and how do you get jobs? I'll come back to show you practically. We'll look at a couple of websites. We'll look at read.co.uk. This is for the UK. For Canada, we'll look at ZipRecruiter or Indeed, ca.indeed, to see how to apply to jobs and how you can also get remote opportunities using websites like FlexJobs, Upwork, remote.co, and so on and so forth. The next cohort starts on the 7th of October, next week, Saturday. Not this Saturday, the next Saturday, we have the next cohort. The class is already getting filled because we've been having these sessions right from the beginning of the month. And I'm sure for some of you, this is your second or your third masterclass with us at Tenalytics. So 7th of October, we have our October cohorts commencing. If you want to be a part of the program, this is the best time for you to join because registration closes on Wednesday, the 4th. All right, the program starts on the 7th. Registration closes on the 4th of October. And as registration closes, the discount also closes. So this is the original fee of what we offer. But I have a special offer for you guys, for those of you that will be joining and be a part of the program starting on the 7th of October. All right, the original fee to be a part of our program is £400 if you are paying in pounds, or 320,000 Naira if you're paying in Naira. And you can make your payments in multiple installments of two installments. All right, but I have a special discount for you. But the discount closes on Wednesday. So to be a part of the program, to join and be a part of the program starting on the 7th, instead of paying £400, if you're paying in pounds, you get to pay £300 to be a part of the program. And like I said, you can also make the payment in 2 installments of £200 to get into the class, and then £100 1 month after the class commences. Okay, now once you make your payments and we confirm your payments, you receive a welcome kit. The welcome kit contains all the things you need to get started. You need Excel. You have the link to download and install Excel, a video guide on how to install Excel, Power BI, SQL, and all of that. You have every tool that you need in preparation for the program itself. Okay, you're paying in Naira. Instead of paying 320, you get to pay 270,000 Naira. Also in 2 installments of 180 to get into class, and then 90,000 1 month after the program commences. So this makes it easier for you to be a part of the program. And if you ever want to transition before the end of the year, this is the best time for you to start. You start in October, November, you complete your live classes in December, and then you start your internship. And by the time you are done, you hit the new year 2024, fully primed to apply and get jobs as a HR analytics professional. And if you're in Canada, you pay 500 Canadian dollars, discounted, 350 to get into the class, and then 150 1 month after the program starts. How do you make payments? Very straightforward. And all the details are also available on the slide. Like I said, just click on this link over here and I'll show you. Okay, so once you click on the link, once you click on this link, all right, it takes you into how to pay. And I'm just going to show you that very quickly. Just give me 1 second. I'll move that to the screen so you can see. So once you click on the slide, it brings you here. You click on the link, I beg your pardon. It brings you here. So you have access to all the program brochures. Okay, so we offer different programs like I mentioned. So you want to see all the different aspects of the HR analytics. If I click on this, for example, and I click on HR analytics, you'd see all the different aspects of the HR analytics program and what you stand to learn and what you stand to gain. Okay, from the program overview to all the things you would learn, build 6 high-end projects, you know, your 1 month internship, your learning journey, every single thing that you need to be a part of the program, all the projects, the type of projects you're going to work on, and so on and so forth. All right, you have everything in the brochure. You can go through it and see the nitty-gritty of what it takes to when you get into the HR analytics program. Now, if you want to make payment in Naira, for example, all you have to do is click on any of this link. You want to make your full or part payment. So let's assume I want to make full payment to join HR Analytics, I'll click on this link and it takes me into Paystack. All right. And all I have to do, look for HR Analytics over here, click on HR Analytics, and I can select if I want to make the payment, the full payment, or the payment in installments. So let's assume I want to make the full payment. I click on this drop down and select full payment, and it gives me the discounted fee of 270,000. If I want to make the part payment, I can click on that as well, and it gives me the part payment of 180. All right. What if you are in somewhere across Europe, or you are in the UK, you want to pay with your pound card, or you are in Germany, you want to pay with your Euro card, and so on? How do you make payment? We have the PayPal option. All right. You can pay using PayPal. So if I want to pay using PayPal, for example, all I need to do, click on full payment if I want to make the full payment, and then you'd see the Tech Career Program, £300. So if you want to, let's assume you're in the US and you want to pay in dollars, it does the conversion for you automatically. All you have to do is click on Buy Now. Okay. Once you click on Buy Now, you click on PayPal. If you have a PayPal account, fantastic, you can do just a direct transfer. But if you don't have a PayPal account, all you need to do is what? Click on Pay by Credit or Debit Card. And once you click on that, all you have to do is enter your card details, and then you get to make payments, be a part of the program. Very straightforward. Once you've made payments using the PayPal account, using the PayPal option, ensure you have proof of payment. You'll receive an email. You'll receive a confirmation that your payment has gone through. All right. Send that confirmation to, come here, click on the link to upload your initial payment, either the full payment or the part payment. You enter your email, your name, and all of those details, and then we confirm your payment. You can also defer your program. So let's take, for example, you want to start in November, not October, but you want to take advantage of the discount today. You can do that. Take advantage of the discount, pay for the program, and then defer your program to November. Once you are filling the form, you see the option to defer to the subsequent month. Now, for my Ghanaian brothers and sisters, or for those in Cameroon or in Rwanda, you would ask the question, how do I make payments? Simple. You can either make payments using the PayPal option, or you can make payments using the Paystack option for Naira. It does the conversion for you automatically. Okay, the preferred mode of payment for the Ghanaians that join our programs is the Paystack option. The Ghanaians always use the Paystack option. So if you're a Ghanaian, you are a Cameroonian, you're somewhere across East Africa or West Africa, you can make payments using Paystack. You can also do a direct transfer. For some people, I'll just rather do a direct transfer to the pound account, or I'll do a direct transfer to the Naira account, which is a Fidelity bank account. So you have the opportunity to also do a direct transfer to be a part of the program. All right. So that's what it takes for you to be a part of the program. Again, remember, discount registration ends on the 4th of October 2023, which is on Wednesday. The discount and the registration ends. If I were you, I'll take my seats, book my slots to be a part of the program, and I'll register immediately. Okay, so I'll take a screenshot of the payment details. Again, if you ever want to reach out to us, you want to ask a question, you want us to train your company, the staff in your organization, you want us to train 20, 50 people, and so on, reach out to us on any of these numbers, and one of our customer success associates would respond to you. Any of these numbers, and somebody would respond to you. Okay, I'm going to play a very short clip, 2 minutes. I get very excited when I listen to this video. I'll play the video. It's about 3 minutes video. I'll play it for you, and it's a story, fantastic story of a stay-at-home mom. She's been at home for 4 years. She came to the UK. She joined our program, and after 4 years out of work, she was able to get a job again in the UK, working with the NHS, fully sponsored. I want you to listen to her story, and then I'll come back to take questions. Just 3 minutes, and then you get to hear from Ikmat. Her name is Ikmat. All right. So you're always one decision away from usually a totally different life. Just like Ikmat's story, which is always very dear to me. She got a job about 3 weeks ago. She resumed just about 2 weeks ago. I wrote her reference. I wrote the recommendation to the NHS after she had gotten the role. We worked with her to prepare for the job, and she was able to land the sponsored job. And whenever we get this type of successes, what it only tells us is, look, we have a lot more to go in getting more Africans into the tech ecosystem. Ikmat is never going to work in care. She's never going to do that menial job. She's going to do something that she's always wanted to do, and would have a fantastic career progression from there, with all due respect to those who do care. But like I said, there's so many opportunities available for us at the top. How to get there is what you need to learn to be a part of the tech ecosystem. And that's why you have to come to us to help you get the skills that you need, and also help you stand out from all the competition out there. This is Victor. Victor joined our HR Analytics program October 2022. And before he completed his program, Victor got a job in December, just 2 months after joining us, as a people operations analyst with Hugo in Chicago, Illinois, working remotely from Nigeria, working for the organization in the US, earning in dollars and spending in Naira. Victor's story is absolutely phenomenal. Ensure you listen to Victor. I have his video on my slide. I'm just going to look for it very quickly. That's Victor over there. All right, this is Victor over here. Okay, ensure you listen to Victor's story. It's absolutely phenomenal. All right, Victor's story is long. The video is a bit long, so that's why I don't want to play it on the call here. So I'll just play the one for Ikmat, so you get to hear Ikmat's story just for 3 minutes, and then I'll come back to take questions before we call it a day. So that's Victor's story. Fantastic guy, joined our program, learned HR analytics, got a job with Hugo in Chicago, Illinois in the US, working from Nigeria, earning in dollars, spending in Naira. This is Maureen. Maureen got a job with one of the largest telecommunications company in Canada as a HR data analyst after joining our HR analytics program. You have Thelma. Thelma also got a job as a HR analyst in the UK after training with us. She joined our program. We helped her to prepare for her interview. We prepared her. We prepare all our participants for their interviews, what to say, what to do, the right approach, how to structure your stories when you're speaking to a potential recruiter. Now, let's listen to Ikmat very quickly, and then I'll come back to take your questions. Right? So just give me 1 second. I love you to listen to Ikmat. Her story is always transformed. It's absolutely touching, and it always gives me goosebumps whenever I listen to Ikmat. I'm just going to click on the link and let's get to hear her.
Hi everyone, my name is Ikmat, and I was with the March cohort in Tenalytics, and joining Tenalytics has been the best decision so far. You know, for me, someone coming from a background of full housewife, because I had to stay back home to look after my child for 4 years, and then wanting to break into something new, wanting to go back into the workforce, you know, wanting to place myself in the society for better job opportunities. So it was a lot. And then I'm glad that Tenalytics came along, and then they presented me with so many opportunities right in front of me, better opportunities. And then I'm glad I took it. And then also the advice of do not sell yourself short, that Effie is always saying, it is very, very valid, because place yourself right, you know, don't sell yourself short. It's a very, very, very valid advice. You know, in Tenalytics, they will hold your hands like a child, you know, through the modules. You have the opportunity to go back and study, You have the opportunity to go back and practice. You have the opportunity to ask questions. You know, we have people you can always go back to even outside of class hours. It's the most amazing experience so far, really. And then another thing is the interview prep, guys. That is another very important thing. I did my interview prep with Mr. Mohammed, and it is the best decision ever, because it was like he saw into the future. He knew what was going to be asked. And I'm glad that I wrote down all the things he mentioned. I went back to practice, and then when it was time for the interview, it was like everything he was mentioning, everything he mentioned, it was just, they kept on. And then when I was answering those questions, I was so confident, you know, because I already practiced. I did an Excel test, I did a maths test, and then they were really impressed. And another thing is, guys, it may not come as fast as you expect. Definitely you are going to get some no's, and then you may begin to think you're not good enough. You are good enough, yes. The no's will come, but always take it as a basis for learning and development, because after every interview where I got a no, I always make sure I get a personal feedback. So I work on those feedbacks for my next interviews. And yes, it worked. It really worked for me, because I got my first job 3 months into the program, my first job. But I couldn't take up the job because I was a student and I was only eligible to work 20 hours. So I couldn't take up the job. 3 months later, I got 2 jobs with full visa sponsorship. And guys, all the other no's before the 2 jobs prepared me for the yeses I got. So yes, the no's will come, but do not give up, because you always have Tenalytics to go back to. They are the best and the best thing that's ever happened to me. And then yes, and they are the most affordable one I've come across so far, and that's a very good advantage. So yes, Tenalytics for the win.
Hi, Adeza, we can't hear you. You seem to be muted. No, we can't hear you yet.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
You can hear me now, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I had to mute and unmute again, even though I was unmuted initially. All right. So like I was saying, Ikmat's story, I'm not going to bore you with all the testimonials. We have a couple of them. So when you receive the slide, take out time, read the different success stories. Benga, for example, who had not gotten a job for 3 years in Poland, he joined our program, and today he got 4 different offers. He took one, the best one that was going to give him the money, the remuneration, and the ability to work remotely, you know, and I mean, it was a fantastic decision for him. Benga was also able to get confirmed earlier than the scheduled 3 months probationary period. He had a 3 months probationary period, but got confirmed within 2 months, 2.5 months thereabouts. So many people who have joined our program, they've been able to transition. Stephen, who always worked in customer care, got a job as a junior data analyst with the Access Group in the UK after training with us, and so many other fantastic people. For those who also ask, because I get this question, I'm new, I'm a fresh graduate from the university, can I get a job? Uthman is a testament to that. Uthman, fresh out of the university, his elder brother joined the session, just like the one you've all joined today. And his elder brother sent him the recording and said, look, I want you to be a part of this. I worked with Uthman personally. Uthman went for the interview. He brought the case study to me, and that was one of the easiest case studies I've ever seen with the NHS. I was telling people, I was making a joke the other day to the co-founder that I think we need to set up a shop with the NHS, because they seem to recruit 80% of the participants that are here in the UK, all right? And that's simply because they give sponsorship. They recruit you, they hire you, and it comes with visa sponsorship. And once you have sponsorship, what does that mean? It means if you stay for 5 years working on that role, you have the opportunity to get an ILR after 5 years, ILR, indefinite leave to remain, which means you can stay in the country indefinitely without having to remove, without having to update your visa or change into another visa and so on and so forth. And after 1 year on your ILR, you then apply for citizenship. Okay, and that's why everybody wants to get a full visa sponsorship. Uthman was able to do that right out of the university with us. Okay, Ubong, fantastic story, an accountant in Nigeria, works with Cognizant in the UK. You have Adebisi. Adebisi joined us, currently works with Jaguar Land Rover in the UK. You have Ebube, also works with the NHS. You'd see a lot of NHS on the slide, and the slides for next month would be dominated by the NHS because we have about 4 people that recently got jobs with the NHS, full visa sponsorship here in the UK as well. And one of them story I would like to tell, even though we don't have it on the slide yet. He got a job as a pathology data analyst. And there's a reason why I'm telling you this. Pathology data analyst. Okay. Now, people say that I'm a medical doctor. Is it possible for me to transition? So this gentleman has always worked in the health sector, was a medical doctor, joined our program, our data analytics program. And he was able to combine, we worked with him, helped him combine his medical experience with data analytics. He applied to the NHS and got a job as a pathology data analyst. I was super excited because I'd never seen that job title before, but he got the job. So it really doesn't matter what you've done. And that's the beauty of tech. You don't have to have studied something particular in the university. Personally, I studied industrial chemistry and I've done data analytics, data science for close to a decade. All right. So all you have to do to transition is to work with, they always say that, work with the people who know road. And then your journey gets shorter because they tell you where the potholes are, where you need to avoid, where you need to go to, how to apply to jobs, where to apply to jobs. For anybody who has an interview with the NHS, we have numerous case studies, from case studies solved by Ebube, case studies solved by Uthman, NHS, case studies solved by so many people. You get to work on those same case studies, and that gives you a better chance of getting the job because you know how to prepare. So take out time, look at all the success stories. Abdul Rashid also works as a data scientist from Nigeria. He currently lives in Niger State, but when he got this job, he was in Ilorin, Kwara State. He got the job working for a company in the US, living in Nigeria, Ilorin, Kwara, and earning in dollars, spending in Naira. There's a saying that the best achievement you can make is the best investment you can make is an investment in yourself. The more you learn, the more you earn. I've learned that over time, and is one of the advice we always give to even our current participants. All right, you have to keep on putting yourself out there. You have to keep on learning so that you can get the best jobs available across the globe. Okay, I'm going to take a pause at this point in time. We'll take questions and then we'll start to call it a day. It's been a day fast spent. Let's see how many questions we have. And then we'll start to call it a day. Let me see. I have questions in the chat, but let's also, if you have questions, you want to speak, you want to unmute yourself, please just raise your hand and I'll call you up to ask your question. Somebody's asking the replay. The recording will be made available to you, but ensure that you fill the attendance form. Okay, fill the attendance so that you get the recording. If you've made payments, because I saw a couple of payments coming, if you've made payments, ensure that you also upload your proof of payment. All right, or just take note of any of these numbers. You can take a screenshot and then send us a message. Somebody would respond to you to give you directions on what to do. Okay, if or all you can do is the same link you used to pay. You'd see a link that says upload receipts. Use that link to upload your receipt. And once you do that, you leave everything else to us. We confirm your payment. You receive your welcome kit and a welcome email from us. And that gets you into class. I'll show you what the platform, what the class looks like before we call it a day. But let's take one question. Somebody's asking me directly in my direct message, how about a healthcare professional who wants to transition into tech, but is interested in clinical data analyst? Which course is ideal for such person? Mrs. NRS Osai, my advice would be to do either 2 programs, okay? Data analytics or data science. If you are comfortable learning Python, you don't mind learning Python, I would recommend data science. If you don't want to code, you don't want to learn how to use Python because you are a bit scared. People get scared of Python. I don't know why, but data science is one of the most fantastic career paths where you have so many use cases for health-related, professionals. So I'd advise you, Osai, to go for the data science program to get a job as a clinical data analyst. And some of the things you'd learn how to do is to build predictive models. And I'll give you an example, all right, of what somebody built in class during our program. He built, he was able to build a model that could predict that somebody had diabetes or somebody has high blood pressure, okay, just by taking data of the person's ECG. So you see the wristwatch you wear that measures your heart rate. By taking the data from the wristwatch, he can tell if you're likely going to have, hypertension and so on. So he was able to build that particular project, taking the learnings from what he got in class. I've seen use cases of building models that could predict diabetic retinopathy by taking a picture of your retina, taking a picture of the eye. The model can predict if you have diabetes. All right, because one of the places that diabetes would first of all show is in your retina. Okay, so if you take a picture of your eye, the model can predict that you have diabetes. So he was able to build that model as well. So you have so many use cases in the data science space. So aside, that's what I would advise you to do if you want to. Absolutely. So yeah, that's my recommendation to you, Osai. Let's see more questions. I'm not sure we have more questions in the chat. If you have questions, guys, this is the time for you to ask. All the next cohorts, we have cohorts starting every first Saturday of the month. Every first Saturday of the month. Now, the reason why we did not start on the 1st of October, of course, for those of you in Nigeria, you'd know the reason why. So we are starting on the 7th of October, but the first week of the new month, we have a new cohort. We had started in January, from January till date. I would have a new cohort in November, a new cohort in December. The only difference is that the discount would not be available for those other months. The discount is available now. So even if you want to join in November, for example, take advantage of the discount today to be a part of the next cohort. All right. So that's to you, Dami Olu, who is asking, when is the next business analysis cohort starting? It's also starting on the 7th of October. All our programs start at the same time. So 7th of October. Somebody's asking another question. Benjamin, suppose I've been granted a visa for teaching in Canada in the course, and I'm in the course of pursuing your program. Then after completing your course and would like to switch from the teacher to apply for a new job. Absolutely, it's possible. Absolutely. Absolutely, that's possible. But then again, you need to look at your terms, the terms you agreed to. Because one of the things I've also seen for those moving to Canada, you are required to, live in a particular province and work in that province. Okay, so you want to, I'm not an immigration expert, so I might not be able to give you adequate or correct information with regards to that. But in terms of switching, one of the best things you want to do if you're moving to Canada is to have a tech-related skill. Okay, we've had people who struggle to get jobs. There was a gentleman who had 20 years experience in the banking industry in Nigeria, moved to Canada. He couldn't get a job. He joined our business analysis program. And after completing the program, within a month, he got a job in the bank as a business analyst. All right. So Canada are looking for tech talents. So the best thing you want to do if you're going to Canada is to have a tech-related skill. Do we have physical classes? More? No, we don't. We don't have physical classes. All our classes are 100% virtual. Okay? 100% virtual. All right. So just before we call it a day, I said I'll show you what the platform looks like very quickly. So let's see what people who joined are doing, and then we call it a day. Okay, so just give me 1 second. Let's share the screen and you'd see what the platform looks like. So this is for the cohorts that started in July. You can see 0723, July 2023. This is your classroom. So I'm just going to scroll down to the very beginning. So for those that started in July, so we've had a July cohort, we've had August, we've had September. We have a September, cohort currently ongoing. I'm showing you July because they're almost done with their program. So they've covered a whole lot. So the very first thing you get when you join is you get the onboarding. You have an onboarding session where one of our associates would have a very brief session with you, about 45 minutes, to walk you through what you need to know. If you have questions, have you received your welcome kit, and so on and so forth. Okay, so once you have your onboarding session, you have all the things you need. You are prepared for the class. You have problem solving. That's the first thing you'd learn as a HR analytics professional. Now, the beauty of learning with us and being a part of the platform is that you don't get to miss anything. Your live classes are on Saturdays. Now, imagine you miss a class. You have an emergency that comes up. You have to go to the office and you couldn't attend the live class. The recordings are available. All right. So here you have the login details to join the class. But you missed it, so you couldn't join. You have what? The recording. Can you see the class recording? I'm going to click on it. And you'd see that it takes you into the recording of what happened on that particular day. So let's see what the recording looks like. The recording was taken by the class was taken by one of our fantastic professionals, Nene. Nene is a commercial analytics professional. She works with Zelos. Zelos is a Nike licensee. A Nike licensee in the UK. The video is still rolling. I'll go back to it to show you. So that's the recording. Now you'd also see the slide. So the slide that was used in that session, you have it here as well. So everything is made available in this platform. And this is Nene. Okay, so Nene is a strategic planning professional, over 5 years experience. She's worked with some of the biggest organizations. We pride ourselves with the facilitators that we bring. She's worked with KPMG, with Bank of America. She's worked with Denom, Loros Development Partners. She's also a member of the Harvard Business Review Advisory Council as an advisor, the management and leadership advisor. And this should be your problem-solving facilitator. Now, to also show you that you learn right from the beginning, we help you learn the nitty-gritty. Not jumping into stuff, not building immediately. No, you have to follow the building blocks to becoming a professional, a data professional, somebody who can handle people-related data, extract insight from people-related data. So you start by asking the question or answering the question, what is data? All right. So you answer this question, you start right from the beginning, the types of data, quantitative, qualitative, what is data analytics, the type of data analytics. Because remember, I told you that what? HR analytics is a combination of what? Data analytics and HR. And you don't need any experience in any of the two career paths. You'd learn everything with us. Types of data analytics. And of course, you can see what the slide looks like. So you have the recording. This is your data associate. Her name is Joan. She coordinated the class. And then you'd also see your facilitator. That is Nene, who is the facilitator that took the class for that day. So you watch the recording, and everything you missed on that day, you learn and get it back by watching the recording. And if for any reason you still don't understand one or two things, that is where your data coaches, your coordinators would play a key role in ensuring that they answer any questions you have. And all you have to do is send a message to your WhatsApp group and somebody would respond to you. So once you are done with problem solving, you get your Excel video. How to download the data sets. So how do you download data set from this platform? You get all of that. You see the Excel data set that you're going to work with, and then you also see the videos that you need to watch. You start right from the beginning. So let's look at the Excel slides, for example. You have the slides. The slides are available. They are for you. They are your property for you to use. So what are you learning? Introduction to Excel, paste special, basic and conditional formatting, name range and cell referencing, and then data cleaning. 5 videos. All right. So again, you are learning by understanding the bits and pieces of the building blocks of Excel. And then you have your first live class. Okay, you have your first live class on Excel. And then of course you move on, you have your mentorship session, you have your drop-in session. Drop-in sessions are designed to help answer questions. So let's assume somebody like, let me see somebody's name, somebody like Benjamin, for example. Benjamin has a problem in class. He doesn't understand one of the videos he watched on Excel. He sent a message to the chat. They've provided a guided message on how we can get that sorted out, but he still cannot get it solved. Would set up a drop-in session where Benjamin would join the call, a data coach would join that call, and one-on-one, the person helps you resolve that issue. So you have a multi-layered support system. So you don't take a problem that you had from a previous class into the next class, except you don't ask for help. But as long as you ask for help, there is somebody available to help you address the problems you have with regards to that class. So you have your mentorship session 2, Excel class 3, mentorship session 3, and you have so many other projects. Let's look at a project, from the HR program. Let's look at a particular project that they worked on. So let's see, they had a presentation, of course, like I mentioned. At every opportunity where you have to speak publicly, you'd work together in groups, and then you'd rotate the presentation among yourselves. So if you are somebody who doesn't like to speak, you are shy, you don't know how to communicate, guess what? As a HR analytics professional, for somebody who does analysis with data, it's important you also communicate, because you have to communicate your findings and your insights to those that need to take decisions. All right, so this is your CV review session 2. Let's look at one of the case studies that they worked on. Okay, it's a talent sourcing analytics case study. Talent sourcing analytics. All right, so you're going to work for this company, Innovate Solutions, which is a medium-sized technology company, helping them solve problems regarding talent sourcing. Okay, so the key metrics on what you need to address, you have a tailored analysis as well that you'd have to solve. So your classes are project-based. You'd work on what? Project-based projects in every single class using the concept you've learned over time so that you're solving problems. So on the very first day, as a HR professional, you know what to do. So we had sessions on immigration pathways for tech professionals. So for the gentleman who asked the question on, oh, I'm moving to Canada, we brought immigration experts who would speak with you. Immigration experts from the UK, from Canada, and Australia. They'll talk to you about different pathways available and would also contribute as well to how you can access the numerous opportunities available out there. Okay, let's look at one more case study. This is another case study on enhancing employee engagement or something, enhancing employee satisfaction and productivity. All right. So this is an employee satisfaction and productivity case study. Okay. So what's the importance of employee satisfaction and productivity? You have good understanding on that. And then you'd go ahead to solve the problem. The data dictionary that contains what the data is all about and the data description, and then the approach to you solving the problem, analytical approach. You have your tailored analysis and so on and so forth. So at the end of the day, you build something that looks like this, all right? And then you come to present your finding. So again, it's an immersive, intensive program. And to be a part of this, all you have to do is make payments, join the class, and join amazing professionals that are also starting their journey on the 7th of October. Okay, on the 7th of October, and be a part of an amazing and thriving community. As we start to wrap up the session, guys, ensure that anybody you think this would be useful to, you've heard a friend talk about wanting to move into tech, you have a brother, a sister that you think would benefit from this, share it with them. When you receive the link, when you receive the slides, share the message, okay? And just like Uthman, whose elder brother sent him the recording of a session like this, and today he works with the NHS after training with us, you can also help somebody move into tech. If this is not for you, for example, or you're not looking to transition, or you're not looking to get a job in any of the different career paths that we've talked about today. Follow us on LinkedIn, follow us on Instagram, follow us across our different social media channels, and let's get to interact, all right? Follow me on LinkedIn as well. My name is Adeza Suleiman on LinkedIn, and you'd see the amazing work we are doing within the tech ecosystem. I thought I was going to show you how to apply to jobs, but time is fast spent. Maybe if we have another time to do this, I would show you how to apply to jobs and access jobs. So follow us on LinkedIn, Tenalytics, all right? Go on LinkedIn, do a search for Tenalytics, and you get to see the amazing stuff. So once you search for Tenalytics on LinkedIn and you see Tenalytics come up, follow us, all right? And once you follow, also click on what? People. Click on people or click on posts and see what people have been building, people that have joined our program, what they've been building across LinkedIn. If I click on posts, for example, you'd see so many people. This is Efe. Efe is in one of our programs. This is Adeyinka Balogun. She worked on a Sunshine result analysis case study and uploaded it on LinkedIn. This is Chigozie. So many people. Just take out time and ensure that you follow us and see what people are building. This is Amaka. Amaka is in our data analytics program, and she built this, posted it on LinkedIn. Super amazing. Follow us on Instagram as well. You follow us on Instagram, so go to Instagram and then search for Tenalytics. The reason why it's good for you to follow us across our platform is because you get to see the free classes we have, the new trends, and follow the amazing stuff we have available for you. So search for Tenalytics, go to Tenalytics, and you'd see, listen to Ngufan, Ikmat, Ramat, amazing people. You see the session we had today. This is the post. This is the post on LinkedIn, all right? I beg your pardon, post on Instagram. Okay, so follow us on Instagram, see the amazing stuff we have for you. This is the co-founder of Tenalytics, Efemena, fantastic guy. You'd also get to learn from him as well. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us across all our social media platforms, and we'll be looking to have you join our program on the 7th of October, 2023. We're not likely going to have any free session again before the 7th of October. I think we have one over the weekend. All right. So if you have the opportunity to join, please join and get to learn more amazing stuff within the tech ecosystem. Thank you for spending your Friday evening with us today. I don't want to take any more of your time. I'm not sure we have questions anymore. All right. I'd love to see your requests, LinkedIn requests. I'd accept them as soon as I see. If you have questions around navigating the tech ecosystem, I'll be very happy to respond and help you find your way around. If you're in the UK, in Manchester, please reach out to me. We can also hang out, hook up, and, you know, we get talking on how to dominate the tech space across the UK, Canada, the major economies as well. That's our drive for us at Tenalytics. I hope you've learned one or two things today. Oladele is saying, yes, UK. Just send me a LinkedIn message, Oladele, and let's connect. I want to connect with as many people as possible. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us today. Until we meet in another session, have a wonderful Friday. Enjoy the weekend, and I hope to see you in class come 7th of October, 2023. Cheers, guys. I'll see you some other time.